Hey, everybody, and welcome to this
What's going on, everybody?
first potential edition of the Liberation AI Podcast. We're not even really sure where this is going, but our company, I guess I can just start. My name is Doug Mckenty. I am the marketing manager for Liberation AI. I'm joined today by Leander Dixon, who is our AI Vigilante. He's the tech guru that puts together the chatbots and the search bots that we're building for customers right now. But as the marketing manager, I've just been having this wild experience in the AI space, going through the learning curve of learning about all the different companies and everybody who's involved and exactly how do we get the word out about our chatbot services. And it's just, it's really interesting right now because it's such a new space. So Leander and I wanted to sit down maybe once a week, hopefully, and start having these conversations. So not only could I get educated by Leander, but you all could get educated through our conversations about what's happening in artificial intelligence and how the practical applications. I mean, this is what our company is doing. The way I see it is we're taking these new large language models that have been coming out, and we're figuring out how to practically apply them in a way that people can use them with a functionality that's really streamlined. It really can save you a lot of time without just going to ChatGPT and typing in some questions and getting some answers and then being like, well, how does this really help me? What can I do? How can I make this useful for me? So, Leander, why don't you just introduce yourself and talk about, how long you've been in the space and why you're interested in it and some of the potential that you see for Liberation AI going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Leander Dixon, also known as L Dixon, also known as the AI Vigilante. And man, this AI boom that's happening right now is just so fucking exciting. I've been like kind of deeply in the space for probably about a year now. It's something I've always been interested in. In fact, when I was younger in high school, and the reason I went to college in the first place is because I wanted to be a video game designer. I wanted to work on the design and the AI of video games. And so my life took a different trajectory, but it's just fun to see it come back around to where it's like, oh, now it actually makes sense to be able to work on AI and the real world and to really like help. I'm interested in helping to augment human capabilities with AI. A lot of people are concerned about AI replacing us or AI taking our jobs and this and that. And the unfortunate reality is, a lot of people will be displaced by AI technology. But if we have the right mindset and the right tools, we can use it to create a human renaissance where we are kind of just liberated of all the, kind of tedious nonsense that a lot of us are being forced to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and free to just do what we're most passionate about, what is like the pinnacle of our creative expression. And so, this is part of the reason that I'm really excited about the technology and about building things to help people augment their capabilities. But as Doug mentioned, look, this is such a disruptive moment, and it's such a just a paradigm shift for so many people. This is like the notion of AI has been in human culture for decades at the very least, and we've known that this is where the future was going. But now that it's here, it's like you put somebody in front of ChatGPT and they'll ask it a few questions going back and forth just to see it respond, and then after that it's like, okay, what do I do with this, right? And so it's almost like putting a Black and Decker kit in front of somebody that has drills and saws and screwdrivers and all of these tools. You drop that box in front of somebody that doesn't really have the experience of with building things, and it's like, okay, cool, I can tell this is useful, but what do I do with it? And so that's one of the things that we're really trying to do with Liberation AI, as Doug was alluding to, is we're trying to build things that are useful to people and that put these tools in a structure that it is immediately apparent that is really helpful and that it can help augment, again, your personal capabilities. It can augment your business or organization, your brand, whatever the case may be. So these are exciting times. It's exciting times.
Yeah. Well, as the social media marketer for Liberation AI, I've been going through my own learning curve, and I've just discovered that there are so few companies that are doing what we're doing right now, and so much of the chatter on the internet about artificial intelligence is sort of more high end. It's still really techy. Not a lot of people have built the front end applications that are going to make artificial intelligence so useful to humanity, I think, as we move forward. And so one of the things that I wanted to discuss today with Leandro was the bigger picture of what we're trying to build here, because I think it makes it easier for people to kind of comprehend. If you start with us as a customer and you're getting a chatbot right now, you might say, well, these things, I chatted with Chat GPT. It was a novelty, but I didn't really see the functionality of it. But one of the things that we have in our vision, and I think the whole space is really working towards, is the creation of this virtual assistant that could ultimately be really, really effective at helping people scheduling all aspects of their lives, staying connected with anybody, family members, working in business. There's so much potential here to cut down on labor time and actually increase free time, make us all so much more productive. But I just wanted to, because the space is changing so quickly, have Leandro comment maybe on the longer term vision and how, like, if you become a client with us now, we'll be with you every step of the way. As new functionalities come online, we'll add those to make sure that you remain on the cutting edge of AI functionality as these new things come online. So we can start you now with the chatbot, and in 5 years, that chatbot will have laid the backbone for what will be your virtual assistant if you stay with us over time. So, Leandro, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, like, just the potential of all of this is just staggering, and this is literally just the beginning. So like, and I mean, and Doug mentioned 5 years, and 5 years, like, we're gonna. It's hard to even fathom where we're going to be in 5 years, and it's just going to be, an exponential curve to that point. So, but yeah, to Doug's point, right now we're building chatbots for clients, right? And the notion is these chatbots you can talk with it, you can engage with it, it can give you all sorts of information. If you're a creator, for example, we can train this chatbot on your body of work, and your audience can engage with it and ask it questions and all of that. And that's all great and super useful. And I mean, especially if you're somebody that, for example, does coaching, or if you have a podcast, like you have some sort of expertise, you're an entrepreneurial content creator or something like that, you have a way of extending your interaction with your audience to a whole new level, right? So it's almost easy to think about this as like where we were before the printed press came out, right? To actually get the benefit of somebody's wisdom, you would have to talk to them, right? You would have to actually engage with them. And then we get the printing press, and suddenly people can produce books, and that one person's knowledge can be extended, far beyond their natural ability to reach people, right? So this is kind of like the next step in that regard, where we have the capability of being able to have an interactive back and forth with somebody's body of knowledge without actually being able to talk to that person, without having to talk to that person. So it's incredibly powerful right now where the chatbot technology is. But what we're building towards with these virtual assistants, or as we like to call them, sidekicks, it's just going to reach a whole different level of, rather than just having something that you can talk to and that can give you information, you'll have something that can do things. Now, what I mean by that is, say, for example, you're a creator, and we train this chatbot with your body of work, as I was mentioning. You could have it like write you a blog post based on your own body of work, right? So that's really cool and useful. But once we start to get into the sidekick phase, you start to have the ability to tell it, okay, write me a blog about this topic or that topic, and then post it on my social media, right? And it'll be able to do that whole process rather than just giving you a blog, right? It'll be able to actually post that on your social. And then you can tell it, give me a report about how that content does, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it'll give you, like, maybe you could tell it after a week. After a week, give me a report about how that content does, right? And so then after a week passes, it'll know to go back and actually produce this report to you and send it back to you, right? And it's just the capabilities that we're moving towards of actually being able to have these things do things for you and actually execute automations and execute processes and just help make your life easier, right? Again, right now, like Doug mentioned, the notion of having a family virtual assistant, which is something that we could easily do right now. It's not something that we're offering as a service just yet, but it's something that we could easily do for you right now, where you have a chat bot that we pass all of your whatever family information you want to put into it, and you could easily talk to it and ask it things about your family history or your family tree, or who was great grandma Sue married to, and all this sort of stuff, right? And it could give you back that information. But what we're moving towards with this virtual assistant or these sidekicks is actually, again, being able to have it do things like, look, we as a family want to go on a vacation to Greece, right? And it can actually sit there and make the plan about what needs to happen step by step, right? The booking of the tickets, the booking of the Airbnb, getting everybody from your place to the airport, like just all of the logistics and beyond just giving you a plan. Given that you've given it all of the proper capabilities, because everybody's going to have their own comfort levels with what they're comfortable in giving their AI sidekick. Given that it has the proper capabilities to be able to execute everything, it will be able to just handle all of the logistics for you. Can you imagine that?
Right.
Like, how much more fun and a better of an experience would your family vacation be if you didn't have to get caught up in all of these logistics and all of the pain in the ass parts of actually planning this thing and making sure everything goes off without a hitch, right? It's mind blowing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a good time actually to discuss how quickly the space is changing, because what we're waiting for to offer the family packages is the ability of the AI to start to recognize photos and videos. Right now, we have to take everything that you give us and turn it into text. So if you give us a podcast, we've got to turn it into a transcript of the podcast, and then we can input that into your chatbot. But very soon, in the next month or two, the developers are going to come out with a way that we can start just inputting the videos, or we could input, your family photo albums and then have it create a calendar and organize your family photo albums kind of thing, because it's on the verge, on the cusp really of being able to automate all of that kind of photographic data, the graphic data. So this is going to be a huge change. And once that change comes out, then we'll be there to offer that functionality in our chatbots as well. And again, just to point out that once you build a chatbot with us, we've already got your foundational data. We've got that backbone. So as these new functionalities come online, all we have to do is update it with the data that we already have. And with your monthly plan, we'll be adding new data every month. So over time, we're incorporating, a huge compilation of your data that's specific to your business or your family life. And this will be the backbone of all of these functionalities that can be then added later as they come online. So it's a long journey. It's not like you're just buying a chatbot and throwing it up on your website. It's like you can stay with us, and as things evolve, we'll make sure that your virtual assistant or your sidekick continues to develop in functionality as soon as the technology is available. So it's a really exciting time. And I just wanted the audience to be aware that this is really what we're doing here. We're not just pumping out chatbots that might be cool for the next couple of months. We're developing relationships long-term with customers until they have, all of the benefits that this AI technology is going to be giving in the very near future.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's just staggering how quickly all of this is moving. It's just going to be incredibly useful to almost all human beings, but particularly for businesses. Now, like for businesses, this is really where it just becomes like a no-brainer, right? I mean, when you consider how much a business is spending to do, like, sales and customer support, for example,
right.
It's just one of those things that that it costs a lot of money to be able to offer. Most companies can't afford to have 24/7 customer support, right? And it can be such a poor customer experience when you're having some issue and it's the weekend or it's the middle of the night, and that you're not going to hear anything back from the company until the next week. And so just having the capability of having a chatbot that can answer questions, and then moving into having these sidekicks that can actually perform operations on your customers' accounts, for example, and fix issues. It's just, again, it's a no-brainer. Just in terms of being able to give your customers a better experience with your brand. Where you just consider the retention rate increase that you could have. If when a customer is frustrated, they can immediately get the answers and the help that they need from the chatbot. I know personally, I've gone through many experiences where I try some new service and things aren't working, and you get frustrated and you just end up trying a different tool and you take your money elsewhere. So again, just the capabilities are vast. This is such a blue ocean technology. It has so many different ways that it can be utilized. But obviously for businesses, it's just one of the easiest use cases to really justify and really see that, look, again, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Right.
It's going to make you back or save you way more money than it costs you.
Yeah, the labor saving potential is really unbelievable for businesses, and then even the interface potential from the customer end, the customer service that is going to be automated is going to be so much better than what we're used to. So many people on the phone listening to a machine recording saying, God, I wish I could just talk to a human. These interfaces are going to be pretty darn close. And people are going to really be able to ask whatever questions they need and have it get answered in real time, like you said, 24/7, without having to pay for all that labor. So the benefits are already there, and they're only going to exponentially increase, again, as these new functionalities come online, which is starting to happen on a weekly basis. I mean, we're keeping close watch on what's coming out, and so that we can continue to add these new functionalities to our interfaces and any of our customers' interfaces as soon as possible. I wanted to spend a few minutes here talking about our process, though, and getting into a little bit of the tech nerd universe. Just so people understand what goes into it, what goes into making your chatbot. And there's a new term that I just got turned on to called prompt engineering. And it's like I said, a lot of you probably, I'm sure, have gone on to ChatGPT. You've given it a prompt and it gives you an answer. And you kind of stop there. The average person would say, oh, that's interesting. Again, kind of a novelty thing. How is this functional for me? In the AI world, a lot of us are working on what's called prompt engineering, which is exactly how you ask a question is really important to the answer that you get back. And then we've got something called prompt chains, which means that what we'll do, like, for example, we'll take your data and we'll pass it through multiple different prompts to get the exact results and the quality level of the result that we want to get. So, Leandro, why don't you just talk about this process? I mean, this is what you're spending your money for. This is what we're spending our time. It's our secret sauce to a certain extent, where we're developing this process that can actually ensure that your data gets inputted into the AI model in a way that it's going to spit out quality information that's really accurate when it comes to the front end user interface.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, prompt engineering is a huge necessity right now, and maybe it won't always be, but for right now, the ability to actually tweak the way you communicate with a large language model to get the results back that you actually want, it is definitely a skill that you have to cultivate, because I mean, you could ask it to do a thing, and like you will get poor results, and you're like, oh well, I guess it can't do it. But then you try to ask it in a few different ways, and finally you ask it in just the right way to where it actually gives you the results back that you want. So I mean, for example, if you were trying to have it write a blog, I mean, you could easily say, hey, write a blog about lizards, right? And it'll give you the first thing that comes to mind, a blog about lizards, right? And it'll give you something that's relatively reasonable, that reads well, and it's a pretty good output. But for example, what a lot of people are doing is you add to that, or you tweak it to get the certain results that you want. Like, one of the things that these language models are bad at when they're actually producing content is repeating things, right? So if you can tell the chatbot or the language model to, okay, write me a blog about lizards. Be careful not to repeat yourself. Also, write in the style of Mark Manson, and you get really descriptive with what you're giving it, you get vastly better outputs. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's something that we're really doing as part of our process, and helping to structure and curate your data. Because, for example, if you have a podcast and we get a transcript of your podcast that we can put into a chat bot or a search bot, the transcript doesn't come out perfect. I mean, it's diarized, meaning it has each of the speakers separated, right? But the diarization just comes out listing everybody on the podcast as speaker A, speaker B, speaker C, or whatever the case may be, right? And so having a process where we can appropriately list everybody who's actually on the podcast, right? As well as things could be spelled wrong. There could be, a lot of these transcription models, they can be like 95% correct, but then there's that 5% that they're just gonna, they're gonna get wrong. So basically, making sure that we clean and structure your data in a way that it can be fed into the chat bots and search bot and give the best results at the end is,
Right.
is that we're really focused on. And so part of that, as Doug was alluding to, is this notion of prompt chains. So we have various steps that a transcript might go through, for example, where we're having it go through a process of identifying speakers, where it is correcting any speaker names, where it's correcting any typos, and these various steps that we pass it through, each time being passed through a language model to clean this your transcript so that it's as close to perfect as it can be, and where we feed it in. So that's just a general overview of it, and we could get a lot deeper on the different things that we're doing, and it's certainly going to evolve over time. But just so you understand the concepts of prompt engineering and prompt chaining.
Yeah. And one of the things that I've noticed that we've been playing around with is doing prompt chains that are hopping from one language model to another, because some ChatGPT-4 might be good at one aspect of organizing your data, but Claude is better at another. And so sometimes depending on what we're trying to do, we'll take the data from that you give us. We're building your chat bot. We'll put it through ChatGPT-4, ask a few questions, and then take that data from ChatGPT-4 and put it into Claude and clean it up even further that way. So it's actually is kind of a complex product, but at the end of the day, we're going to come out with a chatbot that you can talk back and forth, that's going to be very accurate, and that's going to have the capabilities of answering all the questions straightforwardly in a way, actually, whatever kind of personality you want to build into it. So, and it's interesting too. I just wanted to mention, because as a social media marketer, some of you may have experienced this. Everybody's raving about how AI can do a great job at writing your copy for social media posts. And it's like, okay, I played around with it a little bit, and it does what you tell it to do, but there's still something about it that's lacking that human touch, that nuance that I'm able to just throw into the copy, maybe a little joke, maybe a little irony, a little sarcasm, or a little reference to other things that are going on in our business. And as we progress, and we'll start to develop systems to help me with our own social media marketing, of course, and we'll end up putting like the copy through multiple prompts until it starts to get like, okay, I get it. This is the angle that these guys are going with. This is the personality style that we're looking for. And we can start to get some really quality copy that reflects our business's style, that reflects a lot of the different aspects of the business, and doesn't come out kind of just like a cold answer, a machine answer. That's what you get if you just type a single prompt into ChatGPT. So we continue to develop these functionalities. The same, of course, is true for any kind of blog post you want to write, any kind of marketing copy if you want to write anything longer. If you want to make it more subtle, more nuanced, have a little bit more of that human touch, even though it's still a machine learning module, you just have to run it through a couple of times, and you have to play around with it. We're doing that experimentation for you, so that
Right.
the product that you get is already going to be infused with the quality level that you're looking for and the personality that you'd like to project as well. So
absolutely. So there's a couple key components to that about what Doug's mentioning. First of all, it's the training of the chatbot on your information, right? So it's one thing to just use standard GPT-4 on, for creating social media content. Of course, you're going to get more generic results doing it like that, right? But my light just went out. Shit.
oh.
Goddamn. All right. Let me just quickly switch this out, and I guess we got to get into our meeting, right?
Yeah, I'm just texting them now.
Okay.
That's all right. I'll be able to cut this together if you just send me the.
Yep.
And I'll definitely get the 30 seconds out, even if this isn't podcast number 1.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'll be able to get my bits for next week.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So yeah, you can definitely get those results out of some decent results out of standard GPT or standard Claude. But to really get the best results, this is where us creating your custom chatbot based on your data comes in, right? Because it'll better understand your brand and your communication style and all of that, and it'll be able to create better results in terms of producing content based on your brand, right? So it's gonna come across more in your brand voice. It's gonna come across more organic, more unique, all of that. So that's one part of it. And then the other part of producing the more human-like social media content is the prompt chaining. And this applies to all content with language models, right? One of the things that they're actually really great at is giving feedback on their own productions, on their own creations. So you can ask, if you were using ChatGPT, for example, you can experience this yourself. So have ChatGPT write a blog for you, and then ask ChatGPT, what feedback would you give about this blog? And it'll give you a long list of things about, like, oh yeah, it could have a better tone, it could read more conversational. It'll give you feedback on its own creation, and it just makes you wonder, like, okay, well, why didn't you do this right the first time, right?
Right.
but it'll give you that feedback, and then so you can have a stage, and you have the prompt chain where it creates the original content, and then you get feedback in the second stage, and then you have a third stage where you get it to incorporate the feedback that it gave you in the second stage, right?
Yeah.
And so you have this 3-stage process that gives you a much better end result in terms of content creation. So this is another great use case about how we're thinking about prompt chaining.
Yeah, I think this is actually a great conversation to have so that potential clients or even anybody who's just curious can understand exactly what we're doing. I mean, anyone can go on ChatGPT, they can mess around, but it actually does take a professional touch to hone these processes so that you can take a person's raw data and turn it into the kind of data that can really be functional for producing these higher level quality outputs, whatever it is, a blog post or any of that. And we often do have to run the data through multiple times. But once the process is developed, then it's automated. And so as a Liberation AI customer, those automations are going to become readily available to you. And the upgrades are going to be coming out as fast as the applications and the functionalities are. So we just hope that those of you who are listening to this can kind of start to grasp and get an understanding of the fact that because it is such a new field, like exactly what is it that AI developers are doing? What goes into making a chatbot? Why should I spend the money on this? Is it something that I can do myself, right? Can I just go on ChatGPT and ask the questions? Well, there's a lot more involved in it. That's the work that we're doing. And with a little compensation, then we can pass the value of our labor on to you. And you'll be getting an incredibly labor-saving device that, again, will only get more so into the future as all of these applications and the variety of new functionalities come online literally weekly. So we'll be there on the journey with you to build, again, what will become a personal virtual assistant that will just save everyone hours of time. I mean, in a perfect world, and as Leandro knows, we always push decentralization with all of these technologies to ensure that the profits from all of the labor saving that you'll be enjoying also get into your pocket. So ideally, we'll all be working half as much and getting paid twice as much in the future as a result. So I hope you guys decide to join on this journey with us. Again, once we make a customer, stay with us. We'll be building functionalities over time, and in a few years, it'll just be mind-blowing what you'll be able to do. Leandro, you have any kind of closing remarks for everybody?
No, just mainly if you want to stay up to date on all the latest AI breakthroughs and the things that we're creating, and if you want to better understand how you can actually utilize AI tech to improve your life, to have more freedom and abundance, then go ahead and follow us. Follow us on all the social media platforms, right, and join us on this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can also go to www.liberationai.net, sign up for the newsletter. Even if you're not really looking to purchase anything right now, sign up for the newsletter and we'll keep you updated with new products as things evolve and grow, because it is just such a quickly changing space for us to be in. Very exciting times. So this one has been our first conversation here between Leandro and I. We're going to be trying to do this weekly. And I think as time progresses, we'll be giving you a lot of really interesting information and keeping you up to date here too. If you like us on YouTube, then every week you'll get a new update from us about what's going on in this ever-changing space of artificial intelligence these days. So thanks a lot, Leandro. Really appreciate the conversation as always, and we'll talk again next week.
Thanks, Doug. See ya.